Greeting my friends, Brian King here. A client posed a scenario to me. He wants help with helping his child develop a thicker skin in response to verbal bullying from classmates. You know, that teasing about your idiosyncrasies, your quirkiness that results in hurt feelings. And one thing I want to throw in here that I haven't highlighted enough, but I need to bring it to the forefront again, is this particular skill that I have that a colleague of mine pointed out years ago. The skill we decided to name the Affective Factor, meaning that one little place in your story, in the scenario, the situation, that one thing that if shifted, totally turns things on its head and turns it around, okay? So I'm going to start highlighting the Affective Factor in these videos as I address the lesson and kind of give you a little insight into how I find the solution, okay? So the scenario is, as I mentioned, the child's getting teased. You know, this happens to my own kids. This happened to me. And if you're sensitive, if you take things personally, it can be very difficult to keep that bullying, that criticism from getting in. So the client's request was, how do I help my son develop a thicker skin? And it occurred to me saying, you don't want a thicker skin, because a thicker skin suggests that you need armor because this stuff is constantly being thrown at you and you got to play duck and cover. So you're still perceiving a threat. You're still perceiving that need to be defensive, to be guarded. But I want to suggest a different approach. Instead of being defensive, find a way to deflect the bullying, okay? Now, let me tell you the story that informs this strategy. Way back in the day, when I started college, somewhere in the early 90s, I took a criminal justice class, and the teacher was really cool, and he had an amazing story. He was a cop, he was a prison guard, he did all kinds of really cool things. And he shared a story with the class about a time where he took some of his criminal justice students on a tour to a prison where he used to work. You know, he still had some connections there, and he thought it would be an interesting experience. And it sure was from the moment they got off the bus, because the yard where a lot of the prisoners went to go on an exercise was separated by several fences, and you had to walk past this area to get to the entrance, to get into the prison. And while they were going in, a lot of the prisoners rushed the fence and started catcalling and hooting and hollering and saying vulgar things to all the women. You know, hey, baby, come over here. I got this, I got that, and so on. And the teacher, the tour guide, who was also the teacher of my class, telling this story, said, wait a second here, folks. And he said this to his students with specific attention given to the female students. He said, take note, folks. These men have but one opportunity to make an impression upon you, and this is what they choose. Let that sink in for a minute. You know, so when you think somebody's been, wrongfully imprisoned or it's not fair, and you see a moment, a choice of what to put into the world, it's this vulgarity. It's this misogyny. This is what they choose to go with. It says a lot about their character and why they are where they are. So let's transition back to that scenario in the classroom where your child is being verbally teased, verbally bullied, mean things are being said to your child. Now, instead of going for the defense, you want to deflect the words that are coming in. But your ability to deflect starts earlier in your day. Because if you look around, you are going to see examples of kindness. You're going to see people greeting each other in a friendly way. At any school, you're going to see it. You're going to say, hey, so glad to see you. You see people hugging each other. You see people opening doors. You see all of this example of happiness, of pleasantry. And you take note that, hey, man, this stuff is out there in the world. There are people being kind. There are people that are choosing to put it out there. And then here comes this little person, a peer, that for and whatever reason, decides to go with the jerk persona. There are all these other people choosing kindness. They're choosing to be friendly and helpful, but not this person. This person is going with being a jerk. So here's where the deflection comes in. This person is intending to say something to you that you are supposed to let in, but no, you're going to let it bounce right back, and this is how you're going to do it. Here's the strategy. And you say this between your own ears because you don't want to get involved in a verbal exchange with this person who's deciding to be a fool. It's not worth your energy. So you look at the person who's saying these things to you, and this is all you utter. You go, and then you go back to what you were doing. That's it. But this is why you're saying, because you're acknowledging an observation that you just made. And your observation is this. You know, I've seen a lot of things today. I've seen people being kind, seen people being helpful, and now I see you. And of all the things you could have put out in this moment, this is what you go with. Interesting. And you go back to what you were doing. Do you see how that also depersonalizes it? It keeps it about that person. There's the affective factor right there. Because to have thicker skin, to create armor, defense, it has to first be about you. The criticism, the meanness, whatever they're doing, that you have to protect yourself from. But when you make that shift, that it's not about me, it's about them. And the opportunity they've been given to make an impression upon you, and they choose to be a jerk. They wasted that opportunity. And you are fascinated by this. You find it intriguing that they could have been kind, but so they blew their opportunity to make a good impression upon you. You feel sorry for them a little bit. It's unfortunate that's what you chose to go with. I'm going to keep counting all these episodes of kindness, happiness, friendliness, courtesy, because that's the world I live in. I enjoy looking at this stuff going on and seeing examples of what can be put out there in the world. So, hey, Angela, I was hoping you would catch this one. So, And then that's it. Maybe the bully will even say, what is that supposed to mean? Oh, I'm just thinking. Just thinking. And you go back to what you're doing. So I hope this strategy is helpful. Remember, the affective factor goes from, it's not an insult towards me. It's what you are choosing to do when given an opportunity to make an impression upon me. It's them. Deflect it back instead of thinking that you have to guard yourself from it. So tell me what you think of this. Tell me if it's useful. Make some comments below. And I know that there's somebody in your life that you know can benefit from this message. Please share this and make sure they get it. They'll thank you for it. This has been Brian again. Always wonderful chatting with you. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk again soon.